So I'm reading.
No, that's about that. I think that from this meeting.
We don't have one yet. No. No, you guys, it's gonna be worse. That's. Okay. It was clear as mud, dude. All right, you ready to go? 6:30.
Mike's on.
Hi. Good evening. I'd like to welcome the call to order. Sorry about that. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you and call to order the April 28th Orchard City Council regular meeting. And I would also like to remind us of our guiding principles and the actions we're about to take. Are we raising the bar in all of our actions? Are we honoring the past but not living in the past? Are we building positive connections with our community and outside partners? And is the decision-making process building a diverse, equitable, and inclusive community? Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, we have a published agenda this evening. Are there any proposed modifications? Mr. Morrison?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would like to add an executive session after the presentation but before business items, please.
Okay.
I would also like to amend.
Well, 1 second at a time. We've got,
I'll second that.
we got a motion to add an executive session. I would, if it's related to potential litigation.
Correct. Sorry.
Okay.
You already knew that, but I should have said that.
Okay, I mean, that is just ahead of the business items. So I have a motion and a second to add that executive session. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the executive session has been added. Councilmember Dedman, you have something you want to modify?
I wanted to amend meeting minutes from April 9th, City Council Town Hall.
Okay, so that's item F. Are you wanting to put it into the business items for discussion? Is that?
I mean, unless it can be done easier. But if that's a process, then yes.
I would imagine it would be. So
Then I make a motion to move those meeting minutes off of the consent agenda and into business item
G.
G.
Okay, there's a motion.
Second.
A motion and a second to pull business item F, make it consent item F, then make it business item G. And all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that has been moved from business or consent to business. Any other proposed amendments? Oh, Councilmember Warden?
Yeah, do I need to recuse myself for consent agenda E?
It's just a road closure.
I'm down. I don't think.
Anybody think
Just wanna
Councilmember
make sure.
Warden needs to recuse himself from the road closure?
Is his name on the application?
Yes.
No.
It is.
Okay, so let's pull that. I think there'd be appropriate.
But can we get a ruling from our attorney first?
Recusals are entirely a personal decision on your own. But my understanding is the council member is the applicant
Should I-
in that posture. So arguing
Safe.
typically when you're
Let's
the
just do it.
applicant.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's fine. Just want to make sure I'm not doing anything inappropriate.
I would recommend then
So-
we
Can I make that motion
get to.
so that he doesn't have to make that motion?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I motion to remove consent agenda item E and make that H on business.
Okay,
Mhm.
Second. Thank you.
just a second. I'm writing here. So I've got a motion and a second to take consent item E and make it business item H. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we've got a mess now. We got.
No, we don't. It's easy.
It's easy. All right, we got executive session, 2 new business items. Any other proposed amendments? Councilmember Rosenberg.
Mayor, I'd move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
A motion and multiple seconds to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the agenda has been set for tonight. All right, we have a public hearing. This is our first order of business. Mr. Bond, this is you.
Yes, and I believe the clerk is going to share a map on the screen. So the purpose of this public hearing is to receive community input on whether the city of Port Orchard should pursue an opportunity zone designation for Census Tract 923 as part of the upcoming federal nomination cycle. The Federal Opportunity Zone program was created in 2017 to encourage long-term private investment in designated census tracts through federal tax incentives. Under the program, investors may defer taxes on eligible capital gains that are reinvested into qualified opportunity funds, which in turn must invest in real estate or operating businesses located within designated opportunity zone tracts. Investments held for at least 10 years may qualify for additional federal tax benefits. These incentives are intended to attract private capital, support job creation, and stimulate economic development in communities that meet federal eligibility criteria. Washington State's first round of Opportunity Zone nominations resulted in 2 census tracts being designated within Port Orchard. Since that time, several reforms aimed at modernizing and strengthening the program have occurred, and recent federal updates have focused on improving transparency, refining eligibility standards, and ensuring that Opportunity Zones investments produce measurable community benefits. Examples of these reforms include strengthened reporting requirements for qualified opportunity funds, updated income eligibility thresholds to better target economically distressed areas, and new provisions intended to support rural communities. The U.S. Department of the Treasury has authorized a new designation cycle in 2026. Due to revised federal eligibility criteria, only 2 census tracts in Port Orchard qualify for consideration, including Census Tract 923. The state of Washington will evaluate potential nominations through a competitive process administered by the State Department of Commerce. Demonstrated community support is a key scoring factor in the state's evaluation. The intent of this public hearing is to gather feedback from residents, businesses, and stakeholders on whether the city should prepare and submit a nomination for Census Tract 923. Testimony received will help inform the City Council's decision on whether to move forward with an application. Additional information about Opportunity Zones is available through the State Department of Commerce. The staff recommends that we hold a public hearing and that the City Council deliberate and provide guidance to city staff on whether to seek a designation for Census Tract 923. And the Census Tract 923 is the green parcel outlined on the map on the screen. And this the narrow tip at the north end of this tract is between Blackjack Creek and Bethel, and at Mile Hill it widens out. It includes the South Kitsap Mall and goes all the way down to Sedgwick at its southern boundary. And I do want to note that the south of Sedgwick and extending into both the urban growth area of the county and into the rural parts of the county is another eligible census tract. And per our work study discussions a month ago, the council favored seeking the designation of the green census tract, but that was before we realized that we received additional points in consideration for the designation by doing community outreach. So it's important that we listen to the community and hear from them on whether we should seek to designate Tract 923. Thank you.
Okay, with that, I'm going to open the public hearing related to opportunity zones. Anyone wish to testify, please step to the microphone and identify yourself.
You take sure there's a list here. Yeah, it's just me. I'm Steve Seago. I'm a South Kitsap resident and a business owner here in Port Orchard, Washington. I come to you as somebody who has a little experience both designating and operating opportunity zones and opportunity funds. A little more than 8 years ago, after, as Nick mentioned, there was a bipartisan measure of legislation that was signed by the current sitting president, which seems like a fairy tale when there was a bipartisan legislation that he signed, but with everybody at the table. But it was truly a constructive outcome, which provided a connection, as Nick described, between money on the shelf, that is capital that was in the form of stocks or real estate that could be deployed for reinvestment in appropriate locations. We'll mention that in a moment. But for reasons of capital gains obligations and other considerations by state planners and tax planners, a lot of that money, billions and billions of dollars, was available to be invested, but not by the willing owners of that property or those estates and those capital gains, because they didn't want to pay the large taxes that would become part of their obligation should they sell. So the intent was to connect the dots between communities, census tracts that were considered, in question in terms of their condition. There was a lot of metrics that went into it in terms of median income and other issues. And what happened nationally was that the government, the federal government, designated a whole number of qualified census tracts. And here in Kitsap County, this map reflects today's version 8 years later. But there was another one, as you'll see, if you look at the green map, the one that's the downtown tract was one of our original census tract opportunity zones, and across in Bremerton as well. So I was tasked with helping coordinate and try to value and then make recommendations for which census tracts would be most appropriate for inclusion in that first round. It was called, we didn't call it 1.0 because this is 2.0, but we didn't know there'd be more. But there was an expectation that this would happen with a lot of success. We had confidence that we were going to get 2 census tracts as opportunity zones in Kitsap County. And we went through and looked at all the options, and there's a couple of them up there you can't quite even see, but Bangor, Jackson Park, they're just anomalies based upon military housing. Downtown Bremerton was one of them. And we had some pretty serious discussion with Bremerton about what made sense. And there was finally consensus around the downtown Bremerton census tract being recommended as a opportunity zone. There was another guaranteed tract, and we knew that Port Orchard made sense, the downtown tract as well. And then there was a competitive process for the third or fourth or whatever. And in collaboration and support with the city, we worked pretty hard to make this case for a qualified opportunity zone here in Port Orchard downtown, and we succeeded. We had a lot of support from our congressional delegation, from many others. And so the point is, that's where this started. And the original plan was a little different than, as Nick described, than it is today with the current iteration of opportunity zones. There was a change in the qualifying numbers, so that took this tract that exists now out of the picture. And I want to share kind of where we are and where we should go, I believe, based upon what I know and what I see now with the latest opportunity here. I consider it a tale of two cities because I worked in Bremerton and Port Orchard on this. And in Bremerton, we created an opportunity fund that raised more than $50 million. And there's a place called Marina Square there today because of that. So it worked. There was a lot of opportunity. I went back to Chicago, met with a tax attorney. I had no fiduciary engagement or role in any of this except as a supporter of this process. The outcome worked, and that tract is no longer, I say, you improve the tract so much, it's no longer qualified to be considered a blighted census tract. In downtown Port Orchard, we had 2 tracts. The one that's green was one of those. The other that was designated was the one that's downtown, and I actually created my own opportunity fund with my partners for that project downtown on Bay Street. It's never come to fruition. Couple things have happened. One was COVID. One was a lot of the delay around the downtown improvements and the ability to open the door to try to do some things like build a parking garage, et cetera. And so it's been sitting there latent to do something, but now it's not an option for us to include that as part of an opportunity zone. We have a couple years left on the clock for that first tract, but there's no point in doing it because there's not enough tax benefit that could be accrued from those last 2 years. So that's the story of how we got here. I learned that I'm talking with the city of Bremerton. I think there's a really great case for what I call the hospital zone. Knowing with my colleagues at Bremerton Housing Authority and others who want to do private-public partnerships to redevelop that area for housing and medical care and amenities and retail, et cetera, it makes a lot of sense. We haven't committed to that yet. We have until May 28th, Nick, to submit the final proposal. But here in Port Orchard, I strongly recommend that we do include and pursue the subject census tract. And there's a couple of reasons. One is that even though nothing came of it in this last go round, I think now more than ever with what I see happening on Bethel, the roundabouts that are planned, all the way out to Sedgwick, the opportunity all the way down to the hopefully someday some roundabouts on Sedgwick near Highway 16. But that corridor in Mile Hill and some properties along the way are just kind of begging to be redeveloped. And this is what the mission of opportunity zones is to take that capital off the shelf, give a benefit to that investor. And there's no guarantee they'll make money, they hope to, but use that capital to truly do things that otherwise might not be possible without that kind of capital investment. And redevelopment, the idea of opportunity zones is redeveloping urban areas that, that's a principle, it's not the requirement, but urban areas that have been, I guess, wanting from years of ignoring the challenges until something comes along like what's happening now and what's happening on the corridor. So I know I speak, I've invited a bunch of others here tonight who have a stake in this and who have been a part of this process. The sun's, well, it's not sunny, but the light's still out there. So maybe they're still golfing or who knows where they are. But I think I speak on behalf of a lot of folks who understand the value of trying to include that census tract, if we can, into the opportunity zone umbrella. And I will provide written support for that if necessary. And I will also be willing to answer any of your questions about that if you have any.
Did investors into the opportunity zone in Port Orchard, as you see that we don't, did they have any benefits, even though we don't see any benefits that happen for Port Orchard? Like you said, there was a.
I started a fund, but we didn't populate it.
Right.
Yeah, I just, with my own money, I just had nothing happen because just kind of waiting for the bus to drive up to the curb with the correct change in my pocket and it never came. So
Do you think it's possible that other investors still benefited from the designation of opportunity zone, even though
zero,
Port Orchard?
zero.
Okay.
Not a single soul.
Go ahead, Councilman.
Yeah, I was going to ask Nick this question, but Steve, you might be able to.
I think we should probably
You want to do that? Wait.
complete the public hearing and then ask
Let's do
questions.
that. Let's do that. Yep.
Would be more appropriate.
So I can't answer any questions for you, or is this part of the hearing?
I think we're going to continue the public hearing and see if anybody else
Okay.
wants to testify and then
Interested.
from.
Thank you.
all right.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
All right. Anyone else wishing to testify on opportunity zones? And if you're online, use the raise your hand feature and the clerk would bring you in to testify. I don't see any hands being raised. Last call to testify on opportunity zones. And I will close the public hearing. Okay, Councilmember Warden, go ahead, ask your question.
Yes. The last time that we were shown the map during the work study, the city overlaid into the county. How does it work when on a voting process, if one or the other decide not to do it, not to participate, how would that work?
Well, we're in contact with county commissioner's office about getting letters of support from the county commissioners. And so we are the nominating body. And as part of our nomination, we are supposed to seek public input on the proposal. But I think it's really just a box that you check. It's, did you do public outreach? I don't think they're, yeah, I mean, the county could choose to do public outreach if they wanted prior to writing a letter of support. But I think at least in the previous round, the county commissioners wrote letters of support just on the basis of our nomination.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Other questions for staff? Councilor, go ahead. Councilor Patton, go ahead.
Oh, he has hand raised first.
Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Director Bond, so outside of staff time, what kind of cost is it to the city of Port Orchard to pursue this?
No cost.
No cost. Okay. And so as I understand this, I've got a pretty good understanding of the program and how it worked in Maria Square, but I just want to make sure that everybody understands. So no cost to us, but this is just another tool in the tool belt for anybody who would possibly want to develop within the boundaries of this green shaded border, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And I am aware, I know that there's an apartment project, the Ramsey, which is a mixed use project up by the Starbucks. And I believe that is an opportunity fund investment. And so I think there are some of these projects out there. And I also know that a lot of apartment complexes changed hands during the period when opportunity zones were in effect. And so it's possible that some of those benefited from this by refurbishing apartments or putting money into those types of projects as well. But I don't know that there's a great repository of information at the federal level on where these funds went and how they were used. And it sounds like that's something that's been fixed in the 2.0 law.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Fenn?
Yeah. So is this census tract right up to date with
Yeah.
all this going on? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, and so the population is right there in that green area, the 6,894. Is that what that is?
I'm sorry, I don't see the what's the 6,000 that you're referring to?
Well, this thing right here.
Oh, yeah,
is
so
the
that's
green
from the
area?
2020 census. That was the estimated population of that tract.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Councilor Dedman.
Thank you.
2020, sorry.
I would like to read something right quickly, and maybe you can help explain this to me. According to this explanation, it says that investors can still benefit from the opportunity zone designations, even if no developments come from it. The tax benefits provided by opportunity zones are based on the investment in qualified opportunity funds and the subsequent deferral of capital gains taxes. If an investor invests in a QOF, which is a qualified opportunity fund, and holds the investment for at least 5 years, the basis of the QOF investment increases to 10% of the deferred gains. So I guess my point of it is from this explanation, it says that as long as you have a fund, you can not build anything and still benefit from it. So as we think about designating something for an opportunity zone, are we also considering how to have real investment in Port Orchard?
So I'm not a tax accountant, and I'm not sure that I can fully answer the question that has been asked. But my understanding is that you can put the money into the Opportunity Zone Fund, but it's only the increase in that basis that provides tax advantages. I don't believe that you can. I don't believe that you're benefiting just by putting the money in the fund and not seeing an increase in investment within that area. I think possibly you're deferring those capital gains, but you're not reducing the liability. But again, I'm not an accountant.
And these are federal taxes. They aren't local taxes that we're deferring or forgiving. So
Yeah.
this is a.
Yeah, but if people aren't really building, then we're not getting that taxes. Like if they're still if it's still incentivizing them to just sit on it because they're getting capital gains tax deferred, then I'm saying like, are we also just creating a zone where people can invest and sit on it and at the end of it, still have a benefit to them? Or are we creating a zone where people are going to get real investment into our city?
I think we're hoping to get investment into our city through this opportunity zone is the goal.
Okay, except it doesn't seem like much of it happened with the last one. Okay, so do you think maybe it will go more to like, are we looking at it and saying, okay, well, is this really going to go to the city, being that the last one didn't seem to spur what we hoped to, but maybe now in this new zone is more amenable to actual development? Is that
Well,
something we're
we
looking
had
at?
2 zones before. We had the downtown zone, which is no longer eligible, in this same zone that we're proposing at this time. And I believe there are projects. There's at least one that is in plan review right now that I'm aware of. So it's possible we do get some economic benefit from the prior 1.0, and we're providing a tool, as Councilmember Morrissey stated, for investment and in creating opportunity. And we don't necessarily control whether that moves forward or not, but we're putting money into a roadway there, significant investment into Bethel Phase 1 and future phases. So hopefully there is that investment comes forward.
And I would add that we're working with Home Depot right now, and they're looking at building a store in Port Orchard, and they've asked us repeatedly to create tax incentives for them. And there aren't any tools in the toolbox at the state level that allow us to give them some sort of tax break to build a store in Port Orchard. But I have pointed out to them that this opportunity zone law has been renewed. And so they're looking into whether they can take advantage of this as part of making the decision whether to build the Home Depot store or not. And there's a couple of other projects. The Hidden Hills Apartments has been permitted for a few years, and the owner has been trying to sell that and find somebody to buy it. And so I think that an opportunity zone designation may make the difference between whether that project actually is realized or whether those permits would expire. There's a handful of other projects. Blueberry Phase 2 comes to mind in that census tract that could also benefit from this.
Okay, Councilmember Warden.
Yeah, correct me where I'm wrong, please. But the state determines who receives the opportunity zones. So they do the review of all the applicants.
Yeah.
And they see if we're the most viable candidate. And I mean, it's not, we're not just sitting here creating something that is going to benefit local people. The state's going to determine, or the federal
It's a state process,
The state, the
process,
state,
they're going to determine
which tracks are selected.
which tracks are selected.
Correct.
We're just throwing our name in the hat, and they're going to determine if we're the best applicant.
yeah, the application that we have to fill out, it includes scoring criteria.
Right.
And we have to put forward a sample of 3 projects and talk about how many housing units are going to be created from those
Mhm.
projects, how many jobs are being created. And there's a whole number of metrics. Is there infrastructure available, and are there planned infrastructure investments? So in this case, we've got the Bethel Phase 1 project that we can point to and say the city's investing, $10 or $12 million into a road project serving this opportunity zone. And that all factors into the scoring that ultimately gets sent to the governor. And then the governor is the one who has to put the nomination to Treasury for federal approval.
Yeah.
Any further questions? There's no action on this tonight, only a public hearing, and then
Good question.
at future council, there'll be formal action taken on selecting this, potentially on this zone. So Councilmember Diener.
Is it possible that the state will weight affordable housing projects or any housing projects heavier than other kinds of development?
There are additional points for projects that are considered affordable. And so they don't give a real clear definition of what affordable means. And so we have written a draft narrative that talks about, Port Orchard median rents being relatively low compared to the county. And so they actually meet the definition of affordable even without subsidy. And so that's at least the argument we're going to make.
Thank you.
Dedman, do you have a follow-up question?
Thanks.
Okay. All right. With that, I don't see any other further questions. We're going to move on to our agenda. And we're to citizen comment period now. And is there anyone wishing to address the council this evening? And anyone online, use the raise your hand feature and clerk will bring you into the meeting. Okay, I'm going to close the citizen comment period. We have a amended consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve? Councilmember Morrissey.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the amended consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Morrissey, a second by Councilmember Diener to approve the amended consent agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the consent agenda has been approved. We have a presentation tonight. We have some guests from Kitsap County here to give us an update on their Lund Corridor project. So welcome.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Council. This is my first time coming before you, so I'm very excited. My name is Anthony Burgess. I am a professional engineer with Kitsap County. I work in the capital program for public roads. So my purview is road projects. Tonight, I'm trying to find the screen to look at. I have an update for you on the Lund Avenue projects. We have 4 projects specifically that are moving forward, currently planned for the next 3 years. I'll get into specifics. I hope to move through the presentation relatively quickly to open the door. Comments and questions you may have. Let's see if I click the right button here. Maybe.
There you go.
I'll just hold it over here. The project area, a little difficult to see on the screen, but this is the Lund Avenue area adjacent to Safeway and the regional park. On the screen are 4 colors. The projects that are moving forward in our construction phase this summer are the roadway segment of Harris to Chase, which includes a roundabout and also a new roundabout at the intersection of Chase and the park. We are currently working for a full construction package with obligation no later than June of next year. So we're looking to construct the Lund Hoover roundabout in summer of 2027, leaving the final segment of Chase to Jackson for construction in 2028. This was all envisioned as one grant project, but due to funding buckets and timelines and permits, federal permit requirements and cost, it was divided into 4 projects. The Harris to Chase and Chase roundabout projects are both primarily funded through state TIB funds, and the other 2 are funded through federal funds.
So just to clarify, then the first phase, which is this summer, is the red and blue,
Correct.
and then followed by the yellow next summer, and then the following summer, the green would follow.
And surprisingly enough, the color coordination really helps because all the projects are called Lund. It becomes very confusing. So Harris to Chase and Chase are moving forward this year. Hoover is planned for next year. Chase to Jackson the year following. Get this going. Ooh, goes that way. The London Chase roundabout will include construction of a roundabout, paved shared use path, new 6 to 10 foot sidewalks, a new refreshed park entrance, and associated stormwater improvements. The total funding package, which is a combination of state funds, REIT funds, and local funds, was $4.3 million. We've been receiving very successful bids this year for project work, and we came in quite a bit under our engineer's estimate at $2.082 million with Sound Pacific Construction. The Harris to Chase project is also constructing a roundabout and improving the corridor with 6 to 10 foot sidewalks, 5 foot bike lanes on both sides, and associated stormwater improvements. This project will include a very large underground stormwater facility, so there will be a large excavation during the summer this year. We also had a mix of state TIB, REIT, and local funds to create a roughly $4 million funding package. Again, we've been receiving very good bids this summer, and our lowest bid was just shy of $3 million, with active construction being the lowest bidder. Difficult to see on the screen. We are currently working to schedule our pre-construction meetings, which is the initial first step with our lowest bidders. This is where we sit around the table with our contractor, lay out the requirements, and get started. We're expecting for the Harris to Chase segment to begin first as early as the end of this month, and the Chase roundabout following with about a 2-month delay. The Harris to Chase project is a longer duration, 120 working days. If you're unfamiliar with that, 5 working days is a work week. Chase roundabout is much shorter. It's 80 working days. This is to spread out the start of projects because we're going to have 2 contractors working the same area. We're going to give one the chance to get settled, get into a rhythm, and then we'll introduce the next contractor. We have worked diligently on outreach for these projects. We sent postcards to a large area. We will begin door-to-door engagement with impacted businesses along the corridor. We've been using a Gov delivery email system, and we've had in-person discussions with both the engineering staff here at City of Port Orchard, well, school district, for bus routing. Our outreach team is something we're very prideful of here at Kitsap County Public Works, and they do a phenomenal job. So thank you, Ira. We also have a project webpage and story map. Difficult to put on a slide, but if you would like the live copy of the link we use, we have a story that talks about funding. You can look at project plans and get into more detail on all 4 projects planned for this corridor. And that is my very quick discussion, or my very quick presentation. So I'm here to answer any questions you have.
Ms. Mardina, you have a question?
Sure. Thank you for coming tonight. I'm very appreciative of that, as I'm sure we all are. Anthony, You had one slide that showed 5-foot side or 5-foot bike lanes on either side. And my question is, will you see a continuous strip of bike lanes down on 5 foot on either side? Or is that going to be broken up?
The section in front of the park has existing pathways that will be improved into a shared use path.
Okay,
So that's where you go from a bike lane, and then it creates a dedicated pedestrian multimodal pathway so that it will switch
Okay.
along the corridor.
okay.
But
So that'd
there
be-
will be a dedicated bicycling facility of some form or fashion along the corridor.
Okay.
Other questions? Councilmember Morrissey, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Burgess, thank you. I would echo my colleagues' sentiments about coming and sharing this with us. I have one ask of you. We have a new outreach communications folks. I would just ask that it's going to impact drivers for both the county and the city, that maybe we work collaboratively and get the message out in a unified voice. Just serves all of our constituents jointly. So
This is something we've started already, and it's one of our priorities. We had some utility relocation, which was not handled quite as well as we typically do. And so we're working through that now. It's difficult to get contractors that we don't control to provide coordinated work. Sometimes it goes really well, sometimes it doesn't. Now that that work is complete, we'll have our contractors in the work zone and we'll have full control over that outreach and communication.
perfect. Yeah, I just want to make sure we get a unified voice out from the city that's echoing what you guys are putting out as well. Thank you.
Any other Councilmember Rose Pepe, go ahead.
A couple comments and a question. First of all, thanks for being here. It's great to see a little bit of integration between the county and the city. The pedestrian crossing at Chase that's there now at the park, I'm just wondering, it's a pretty major pedestrian crossing, and then with the roundabout going in there, I was wondering how that's going to be impacted and the plans for that.
So the benefit of a roundabout, you do create pedestrian refuge in the middle of the crossing. We want to get pedestrians from one side to the other in one continuous action. Events where that isn't possible, there is a refuge area to break up that length.
Are they going to continue to have the pedestrian crossing lights there?
Yes.
Okay, that was, I guess that was my main question. Second of all, unfortunately, we've seen the state leave one of our roundabouts on the highway, what I would consider very plain. I didn't know if there was any, going to be any artwork or any type of structure to have the roundabouts look a little bit more scenic.
We will have landscaping. We don't typically invest in artwork as a county because it's difficult to maintain all of the infrastructure. If you're looking to annex the area, you're welcome to put your own artwork in.
Touche. However, there is going to be some landscaping on the
exact landscaping of inside the roundabout, I'd have to look at in more detail.
Okay.
It's a balance to create aesthetic and transportation need. What also drives the ability to put more landscaping is when you construct larger facilities. That creates a more expensive project because then we have to acquire additional rights of way.
Right.
Each of these projects required heavy personal coordination with property owners to have fair and equitable negotiations for purchase of those rights.
Thank you.
Councilmember Warden.
Yeah, thank you for coming today. I appreciate it. I will say when it comes to landscaping and the county roundabouts, I'd hope to see less landscaping in them. They're not really maintained the best, but I will say Jackson Avenue, Graves Way, just some examples of the county builds roundabouts really quick. And Graves Way was record time. Jackson, no impact on travelers, built really quick, built well. So I have confidence that, these won't take much longer than what's expected based off of seeing the history of the county's roundabouts. So thank you.
Well, thank you. We do hope to have all projects paved by the end of October and be out of the area for a little bit before we get started
Yeah.
in 27.
Councilmember Dedman.
Thank you. So Councilmember Warden came up with this awesome idea of like anchors, just throwing that out there. And also, I just had a quick question because you said it very quickly and my brain did not catch it. It was an underground stormwater container facility. Like, what was your language on that one?
So every project where we are adding pavement, there are stormwater requirements that are triggered. This is taking surface runoff from the roadway that is untreated and putting it through a treatment system. Due to the length and size and scale of the project and all of that total impervious area, all of that total surface area, we're constructing an underground vault, which is a large concrete tank that typically has baffles and media inside to treat the water so that we remove the permit required pollutants that should be removed from the water system.
Thanks for explaining.
So our Tremont project near the South Kitsap Boulevard on the south side of the road has a vault about the size of a basketball court underground there.
Wow.
You know it.
Mm.
But when we were digging it and building it, it was a big hole there.
And a big boulder.
Yeah. So, all right. Other questions? All right. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We are going to, I hope, what is a 10-minute executive session. Could you cite the statutes for me?
Absolutely. We'll go into executive session pursuant to RCW 423110 subpart 1, subpart I to discuss legal risks of a proposed action for 10 minutes, meaning we will return at 7:21.
I'm sorry, you could have me. No, couldn't you? No, is it just me?
It's you, John.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
No action. You keeping my trophy? Oh, it's in the car. I meant to bring it in. I wanted to actually do like a little. I have kids, man. I was thinking that. I just had it. Got it. Especially when I'm not. Keep it on.
Are you ready, Brandy? Okay, we're back in open session and we're on to our business items. The first of which is adoption of an ordinance amending the 2025-2026 biennial budget. Mr. Crocker, this is you.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. The City of Port Orchard biennial budget for 25-26, adopted by ordinance 1824 and amended by ordinances 00525, 1025, and 1725, is written to capture revenue expenses over the fiscal period. During the biennial period, changes to the budget in both revenues and expenditures need to be recognized by a budget amendment. By this ordinance, the City Council would amend the 25-26 biennial budget as adopted by ordinance 1824 and amended by ordinances 525, 1025, and 1725. This ordinance will increase total revenue and expense authority by $5,830,256, as identified in the ordinance table. The following budget amendment was reviewed by the Finance Committee as well as the City Council at work study on April 21st, 2026. I did want to point out that I did send around a small amendment to the budget, a small adjustment to the budget amendment. And I just want to kind of make sure I read that into the record for clarity. It is only in regards to Exhibit A on the salary table. And the proposed changes are to remove 1 FTE for Deputy Director of Community Development, add 1 FTE for a building official, and add 1 FTE for a Building Examiner 2 position. It does not change the financial adjustments I'm making in the amendments. Part of the discussion, which I've had with Councilmember Demott, is that the cost associated with adding the Building Examiner 2 position could potentially be offset by not contracting out for those services with our consulting firms. So you're not going to see a financial adjustment in this amendment at this time. With that, the Finance Director recommends approval of adoption of an ordinance amending the 25-26 budget as presented.
Member Morrissey.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt an ordinance amending the 2025-2026 biennial budget as adopted by ordinance number 18-24 and amended by ordinance number 5-25, ordinance number 10-25, and amended by ordinance number 1725.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Morrissey, a second by Councilmember Trenary. Is there any questions from Mr. Crocker? I think we talked about this at length at the work study last week. So. All right, so you'll be voting on the ordinance amending the 2025-2026 budget. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the ordinance passes. We're to item B now, adoption of an ordinance amending Port Orchard Municipal Code 13.10, rate reduction for low income. Mr. Crocker, this is you.
Thank you, Mayor. In 2023, the City Council established water, sewer, and stormwater rate reductions for low-income residents because access to safe, reliable, and affordable utility services is essential to public health, sanitation, and overall community well-being. The city recognizes the importance of periodically evaluating and updating eligibility thresholds for low-income utility rate reductions to ensure that the assistance is equitably targeted, reflects current economic conditions, and promotes the responsible and effective use of public resources. The Mayor and City Council reviewed the low-income utility discount program available to assisted citizens. During the review, the council discussed adjusting the eligibility parameters of the program to allow for more participation and increasing the discount to provide greater relief to those in the program. Staff presented alternative adjustments and the council provided direction. The projection was as follows: to increase the discount from a 25% reduction from the fixed base rates to a 35% reduction to the fixed base rates. Additionally, to increase the maximum annual household income threshold factor from 125% of the federal poverty level to 150%. The Finance Department will monitor the changes to the program and report back to Council. The Finance Department recommends approval of the adjustments to the low-income utility discount program as presented in the ordinance.
Councilmember Warden.
I move to adopt ordinance number XX26 amending 13.1.10.020 and 13.10.030 as presented.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Warden and a second by Councilmember Fenton. This was also, I guess, at length at our work study. Are there any additional questions for Mr. Crocker on this one?
Well, just thank you, Director Crockett, for all of this. This is really good work.
Yep. All right. With that, you'll be voting on an ordinance amending Port Orchard Municipal Code 13.10, the rate reduction for low income. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the ordinance passes. We're to Mr. Crocker's third item, which is the adoption of a resolution repealing 1735 and establishing an updated water leak policy. Mr. Crocker, this is you.
Thank you, Mayor. So the city established a water leak policy in 1987 by Resolution 1469. In 1996, the city repealed Resolution 1469 and replaced it with Resolution 1735. The city has evaluated the current leak credit policy and finds it has not kept up with the changes in costs over time. The city desires to repeal Resolution 1735 and replace it with an updated water leak credit policy, which reflects current operations and needs. Finance Department recommends approval of the resolution as presented.
Councilmember Fenton.
I move to approve resolution repealing 1735 and establishing a new utility water leak credit.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Fenton and a second by Councilmember Morrissey. Any questions from Mr. Crocker on this? This was also at the work study. And seeing no questions, you'll be voting on a resolution repealing 1735 and establishing a new water leak policy. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the resolution passes. All right, we're on to item D, which is adoption of a resolution establishing a downtown building refacing grant policy. Ms. Archer, this is you.
Thank you so much. Council, this is the culmination of a body of work that you've engaged in for the past few months pertaining to the adoption of a new program referred to as the Downtown Building Refacing Grant Program or policy. This policy was discussed at length at your work study. And since that time, I made 4 modifications to the documents pursuant to the consensus of the council from your work study. Those modifications from the version you saw in your packet last meeting are to place the match for large projects at 50%. It was previously 75%. To remove any in-kind labor match associated with grant recipients, and to add or to exclude properties where there is ground floor residential, as opposed to excluding residential entirely. And then there was one reference that I did not edit. There was a reference to Port Townsend's paint schema, and that is original to Auburn's program. If the council wants to utilize a different paint schema, we don't currently have one, I understand, from Director Bond. But that's the Port Townsend reference was not a typo. It is in fact reference to Port Townsend's color scheme. So those are the 4 modifications from last week. And I am here, Nick is here for any questions the council may have as you deliberate on your policy.
Councilmember Morrissey.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt a resolution establishing the downtown building refacing grant policy.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Morrissey and a second by Member Rosapepe, I think it was. All right. Any questions or comments on this? Councilmember Dedman.
Oh, that's okay.
I just had a quick
Oh,
question.
sorry.
Thank you. Did we decide one way or another on the in-kind? I guess I thought that was the last bit of hair we were going to have because we kind of went back and forth last week and I don't feel like we got a consensus.
Okay. I thought what I heard was labor would not count, but donated materials, provided there's documentation for its value, would be accepted, is what I thought I heard at the end.
And I thought I just heard Ms. Archer say we've removed all in-kind.
No, labor.
Just labor. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure you said that.
Sorry.
That is not what I saw in here. I wouldn't call it out either, but I just wanted to make sure that I was hearing what you were saying correctly. So
Correct. May have left
if
that
it's just labor, we did decide that. I thought I heard you say all in-kind. So thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Dedman.
So at the work study, I obviously, y'all know that I spoke about my hesitancy that we were including residential for this grant. As we, I believe that we should focus on economic activity. I also spoke to Ms. Archer about this, asking if there was a way in which we could have those monies first available, the grant money first available for buildings that have real current economic activity. But I was informed that we would not be able to do that. So I think that, you know, in terms of really trying to focus this money, helping the actual small businesses, if we can go back to the language that Tukwila had around exclusion of residential, that buildings that were primarily residential, that would be awesome.
I think what was been prepared excludes ground floor residential, and I think the residential in the buildings we have is secondary. I don't know of any ground floor residential
Okay.
in our downtown.
So no, so just to make clear what I'm stating is at the work study, we had talked about that there was no first floor residential. So the way that when we were talking about at the work study, it was rewritten that language from Tukwila was excluded, which states primarily residential, that is excluded. And that was substituted with language that says residential on the first floor, but then we discussed that we have no buildings with residential on the first floor. So replacing that language didn't make sense. And I think that because it didn't apply. So basically, being that we really want to, spur economic activity, and really, I was saying that if it's going back to Tukwila's, I'm sure that's why Tukwila included that language. And going back to that original language, including that language would make more sense, because right now there's no language as to that. Okay.
I think you're misunderstanding though. So we have buildings that are ground floor retail, and they have residential above them.
Okay.
If we use Tukwila's language, that building would not be eligible, even though it has ground floor retail.
Their language was it says primarily residential. So I think they were including that.
And it could be, if there are 3-story buildings down there that have 2 stories of residential and 1 story of retail.
Right, okay.
Okay, so Councilman Warden.
Well, it's pretty simple. I wish I would have done that question. We don't allow anything but retail by our ordinance downtown.
Oh, sorry. So Tukwila's language.
No, I understand, because they probably do.
No, that's why
allow.
it's the language of primarily, because
we don't allow anything but retail. Example for the barber shop that's down there, he got a different occupancy permit for that service. But there's also a barber shop there previous. But yeah, we don't allow that. So just to answer that question.
Well, the mayor just said that there are buildings that have residential above.
Yeah,
I also feel that by doing a building that might be vacant, might fill that spot, right? It might be an eyesore, and by refacing that building, might help draw a tenant to fill that spot. So I don't want to exclude them, because I think that might help sell it. When I say sell it, I mean somebody using that spot. Just my 2 cents.
Councilman Trinier, did you have it? No.
No.
Okay. Councilman Dino.
So you talked about how it's for economic feasibility and development. I think the intent, as I understood it to be, is one, we're recreating a more aesthetically appealing downtown core that will invite economic development. So that's my first observation. My second is that I think when you think about the primary function of these buildings downtown, I think most, if not perhaps all, are going to be residential in nature. And I don't think we want to exclude them. I think it's bottom floor commercial, and then who knows how many residential units in the second or 3rd story there were. So I think we have to be very careful with how we choose that language.
I did try to find out the information. I was not able to.
Anybody else have any other? Okay. All right. I think we've got a motion on the floor.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Just a clarifying point for the public, if they come back and watch this, it was actually the city of Auburn you guys had reviewed, not Tukwila.
Actually.
Oh, sorry.
So just for the public.
Sorry, yes, Auburn.
Yeah.
Thank you,
All right.
City of Auburn.
Hearing no further questions, we've got a motion and a second on the floor to approve a resolution establishing a downtown refacing grant policy. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
How do I state if I want an amendment to it? I would agree if it was amended. How do I
Don't.
state that?
It's either yes or no.
Okay, no.
Okay, so we have 6 in favor. And to your question, prior to the vote,
Okay.
you would have made a motion
To amend.
for amendment.
Thank you.
Excuse me, prior to the vote.
Got it. Thank you.
So we're to item E now, which is approval of amendment number 2, contract number C063-25 with active construction for the Sydney Road non-motorized project. Mr. Ryan, this is you.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. The city executed a contract with Active Construction to construct the Sydney non-motorized improvements project. During the installation of the project's sanitary sewer force main, Active Construction encountered significant delays caused by unforeseen conditions with an adjacent sanitary sewer trench that had been installed prior to the project. As Active excavated the wall of that trench, repeatedly sloughed and collapsed into ACI's trench, our Active Construction. This created roadway instability and made steel plating unsafe. To maintain safety and public access, ACI, our Active Construction, had to backfill the trench each evening and re-excavate each morning. These conditions also required the contractor to change construction methods from continuous welded pipe to daily installation of fusion coupling using specialized equipment, which slowed construction and extended the schedule. Active has submitted related labor, equipment, and material costs. To amount to these impacts, the city will grant 7 additional working days for delays caused by the deficient trench and an additional 5 working days due to conflicts with another contractors working concurrently on the city project. This resulted in a total of 12 added workdays to the project. Change order 2 increases the contract by $87,406.81, bring the new contract amount to $2,839,000. I'm sorry, I have a typo here. It increased the total contract by $87,406.61 and extends the contract time by 12 working days.
Councilmember Trenary.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I authorize the mayor to execute change order number 2 to contract number C063-25 with ACI for Sydney non-motorized improvement project, increasing the contract's amount by $87,406.81 for a new total contract amount of $2,839,995.77 and granting an additional 12 working days.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Trenary, a second by Councilmember Rosa Pepe. Are there any questions, Mr. Ryan? All right, hearing none, you'll be voting on amendment number 2 to contract number C063-25 with active construction for the Sydney non-road, non-motorized project. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Hearing none, the change order has been approved. We're to item F now, is approval of a professional services agreement for legal services for the City of Port Orchard Building Appeals Board. Ms. Archer, this is you.
Thank you. By this action this evening, the council would authorize the mayor to execute a professional services agreement with another law firm, Ogden Murphy Wallace, who provides municipal services. The lawyer from that firm would be exclusively serving in a representative capacity for the city's Building Board of Appeals. You may know that there are times when I, as the city attorney, have a conflict representing any of our sub-agencies. So for example, the Civil Service Commission also has a contract with an attorney, a different attorney from Ogden Murphy Wallace, who is a specialist in civil service work. Councilmember Warden's probably worked with him. The role that individual steps into as the legal advisor to that board is time bound. It is when there is a need for an attorney, we seek one out and we hire one for the city. Most law firms don't like to have ongoing sort of on-call retainers for years and years if they're only called upon on a relatively minimal basis. Your Board of Appeals has never met, as far as I know. Yep, correct, never met. And we have a current potential appeal in the works. There's been conversations with a particular applicant. So we want to make sure that the Board of Appeals is adequately situated in the event that we do have to move forward with an appeal. This law firm, again, is highly qualified in this arena. These attorneys do this type of work on a regular basis. And so this contract would be open-ended in term, but we could terminate it at any time. And the rate would be $395 per hour. And I'm happy to answer any questions associated with this body of work.
Councilmember Morrissey.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move to authorize the mayor to execute a professional services agreement with the law firm Ogden Murphy Wallace for special legal services.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Morrissey, a second by Councilmember Diener. Any questions of Ms. Archer on this, Councilmember Morrissey?
I don't think I have any questions for Ms. Archer. Thank you for your report. I'm glad we're looking at this. It's unfortunate that we may need it. Hopefully we don't put ourselves in that situation in the future that we would need it, but there's no budget authority with this as well. Do we have anything in the, I don't believe we have anything in the budget, Director Crocker, so we would have to bring back in a budget amendment should we need that.
Correct, a cleanup amendment at a later time.
If we used it.
If we use it. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Other questions? Councilman Debbie?
Oh, okay. So I noticed in the engagement letter that the attorney mentioned the possibility of using legal assistants and paralegals. But while they called out what the hourly would be for an associate on the case, they did not mention any hourlies for that. I would like to see hourlies for that labor.
It would actually not be typical for them to utilize paralegal or legal assistant services that they bill through to the client in this context. So I think what we'd be more likely to see in a legal engagement letter is that those costs would not be passed through to the city. So I can propose, not to circumvent your question, but I can propose that the city would not pay for paralegal or legal assistant services, if that would help clear that up.
Whatever you think is best.
Okay. Just knowing we also do this for other agencies and we don't pass through those costs on this type of work. We mostly use paralegals for public records or other things like that. And we always get pre-approval. Yeah.
Any other questions? Councilmember Fenton, go ahead.
Yeah, what about using one of your colleagues or like Jennifer? How come we don't go that way
Yeah,
instead of
great
this
question.
way?
So if I have a conflict, everyone in my firm has that conflict. So Inslee Best represents the city. So no Inslee Best attorney could represent a separate component of the city.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. But great question.
Any other questions? All right, you'll be voting on approval of a professional services agreement for legal services with the City of Port Orchard Building Board of Appeals. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the agreement is approved. We have our two additional business items, the first of which is a former consent item F, which is now business item G, the town hall meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
I move to amend the meeting minutes to include.
Can't amend them until there's a motion to approve.
Ah,
But
I
Councilor
thought
Rose,
but we're not trying to approve it.
You got to be called by the mayor.
Have we moved
Yeah.
it?
You move to make a motion to approve. And then that's seconded, and then you have first speaking, and then we can talk about an amendment.
Oh, that's so exhausting. Okay.
Councilmember Rose Steffi.
Mayor, I move to approve the city council special meeting minutes, town hall of April 9th, 2026.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes. Councilor Devon, do you want to propose amending those minutes?
I would like to propose amending those minutes. So do I just
Go ahead.
say what it is to cut down on time? Thank you. I move to amend the meeting minutes to include language clarifying that the city's chief, as the city's chief administrator, the mayor sets the city's priorities.
That would be a factually incorrect statement, but
Okay, then whatever you think is factually correct, that we helped clarify to those at the meeting. Because the city, people are under the impression that council sort of sets the priorities here. And you as a chief administrator actually set the priorities. So that's why we talked about that at the town hall. There's no language as to that in the meeting minutes.
and you made a statement to that effect at the town hall,
Okay.
but it wasn't correct.
Okay, so then from my perspective, so everybody thinks, so you would argue that the city council makes the priorities?
That's why we had a
Well, we
retreat.
were here last Friday.
Yeah, you had a retreat, but I'm telling you on a day-to-day basis, that's not really true.
I
Like,
run
what goes
the,
on the agenda, like people need to know that.
okay, you guys set the priorities, you approve the agenda. Staff and I prepare the agenda that you guys modify and approve. So, Councilmember Deb.
Okay, well, Heidi had, and then I'll speak. But how do you?
Senior was up.
Well, I had a
Senior
point
was
of
up.
order.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
A point of order.
So my point of order is where are we talking about making this change in the minutes?
There's a Q&A in the, for town hall meeting. There's a Q&A. I just wanted to clarify because when I read it, there was no clarification for people to understand how
Q&A
things
session,
like
okay.
work. Yeah. Okay.
Councilmember Benton, do you have a question or statement?
Maybe, maybe both, but I do get what Councilmember Dedman is saying, because our meetings here, I don't see anything sometimes for city council members, or especially our work study. I'll put something out there and it's not on our work study. Our work study, it's all provided by what you want to put down there. Not, so I get what she's saying, that
Can we get to the motion on the floor is to amend the meeting minutes? I haven't heard a second to amend those.
Okay, they stated I was incorrect, so I would say that you could even put Councilmember Dedman incorrectly stated that from her point, or that Councilmember Dedman, from her perspective, stated that their priorities are set by the mayor. You can say that, but there was definitely a discussion at the town hall trying to clarify how things are really done that is not reflected in the meeting
So
minutes.
you've made a motion. Is there a second for?
second,
So there's a motion and a second. Is there debate or deliberation related to? I don't believe there was.
So point of order, I think we already debated, so I'd like to call for the question.
Fair enough.
Unless there's somebody who hasn't spoken.
I haven't spoken on
Okay, go
this.
ahead.
I think that meeting minutes are usually at a high level and don't cover everything down to what I would consider a gnats. So in this instance, I think the meeting minutes fairly state what was said at that town hall.
Okay. There's a motion and a second to amend the meeting minutes to reflect that the mayor sets the priorities, and all in favor of that amendment, please say aye or raise your hand. I think this would be a split vote.
Okay, I will move to amend my motion. I will,
Well, we have
We have a call on the question, so we have to answer that question. So somebody's got to vote yes.
So,
I could have sworn.
point of order, we have you called for the
Yeah.
for the question.
We're
So
voting.
let's vote.
Call for the question.
Yeah.
So we're
Favor.
all in favor of the motion on the floor, please say aye. Not hearing any votes. All those not in favor of the motion, please say nay.
Nay.
I move to amend the meeting.
Point of order.
Okay. Are you proposing, go ahead.
I didn't know, was she recognized for the floor?
Okay. Are you wishing to make a motion?
You said to wait till the vote went and then to state my motion.
And then you get recognized by the chair.
Okay. So please, you have a motion.
Thank you. I move to amend the town hall meeting minutes to reflect my statement about the day-to-day operations being set by the day-to-day operations and their priorities, day-to-day operational priorities set by the mayor. Yeah.
Is there a second?
second that.
All right. Any deliberation of that? Okay.
I don't want to kill us too much. Oh, sorry.
Good. Go ahead.
That's actually true. He does set the daily priorities, the daily operations. That is true. If we're not happy with the priorities, as a council member has told me a few times, then we need to set the priorities and we need to stand firm on that. But that literally, whether we're doing it or not, whether you feel that we're doing that or not, it falls back on us. Then we're not doing a good enough job. And there's times I feel we're not doing a good enough job, but that falls on us. The daily operations, the daily priorities, most definitely falls
Okay.
on the mayor. So
Then then we need to discuss the.
Point of order.
Oh, sorry.
Councilmember Ward, go ahead. You're done.
I'm complete. That's
Okay,
not clarified.
Councilmember Morrison.
Thank you. While the comments that Councilmember Warden just made were accurate, they weren't reflective of what happened at that meeting. So I just would remind people when they vote that.
Councilmember Gedden.
Thank you for pointing that out, Councilmember Warden, and for clarifying. So I'm going to go ahead and back off of this. What I will say is what I will not back off on then is that our agendas start reflecting what City Council wants on them, and that I will personally stop experiencing seeing Councilmember Fenton's suggestion for agenda items be ignored. Thank you.
Councilmember Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I might just call back that the whole thing started around setting of priorities. And perhaps if priority was set to be at a retreat to set those priorities, we wouldn't have this conversation. But additionally, I would also say to Councilmember Fenton, I've given her the same feedback. She needs to get 3 other votes to get that on the agenda, to go along with the 4 people to put that on an agenda. So,
okay.
Not necessarily. I could go with
I think we need
a work study and get 1 vote.
I would say, do you know how many?
Can we have a point
Not
of
a work
order?
study.
Please wait for.
We have a motion and a second on the floor.
Thank you.
The discussion needs to be related to the motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion of the motion on the floor? Okay, all in favor of the motion on the floor, please say aye.
No, I'm sorry. This is the wrong motion. I thought we were back to approving.
No, not approving the
That was not-
amendment to
The amendment.
motion to amend the meeting minutes. All in favor, please say aye. Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Somebody.
Hi.
Okay, so there's 2 ayes. Is that what I heard? Those not in favor, please say nay.
Nay.
Okay, was that 5-2 is what I heard? Okay, the amendment fails. Okay, we're back to the main motion, which is the meeting minutes of the town hall meeting. Are there any further amendments proposed? Okay, or corrections? All right, all in favor of approving the town hall meeting minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Nay, or yeah, what's the
Okay,
answer?
you're-
I oppose.
You're opposed to the meeting minutes, okay? So is that 6-1 then? All right, we're to our second business item H, the last business item, which was previously consent item E, which is the road closures, they're the special events. And Councilmember Warden, were you going to step out?
Yep, right now.
Okay, all right. And this is Ms. Wallace. Go ahead.
All right, good evening, Mayor, Council. So staff received a special event application for the class of 2026 graduation car cruise scheduled for Friday, June 5th, 2026. As you recall, reviewing the application that's provided to you in the packet, this is an event, like I said, class of 2026 graduation car cruise. It is a type of event of a car cruise dated Friday, June 5th, 2026. Setup time starts at 5 p.m. Cruise will start at 6 p.m. until approximately 9 p.m. The location of this event will be downtown Port Orchard Bay Street, State Route 166 from Harrison Avenue to Port Orchard Boulevard. The closures for the specific event will be Bay Street's State Route 166 from Harrison to Port Orchard Boulevard, Orchard Avenue, Port Street, Frederick Street from Bay Street, State Route 166 to the waterfront, Sydney Avenue from Bay Street, State Route 166 to the waterfront, and then Port Orchard Boulevard, Robert Geiger, Frederick Street from Bay Street, State Route 166 to Prospect Street, and then parts of Kitsap Street and Klein Avenue, as well as parking lots 1, 2, and 8. The required notice pursuant to Port Orchard Municipal Code 5.94.050 subsection 3, allowing citizens to provide written comments regarding how allowing the special event will impact their property, business, or quality of life, has been published, and as of to date, the city has received no written concerns regarding the event taking place. Staff and outside agencies have reviewed the application and are working towards ensuring safety measures and traffic controls are in place.
The applicant is requesting closure of Bay Street, State Route 166, and several side streets. They are working with WashDOT for their approval. In the meantime, pursuant to Port Orchard Municipal Code 5.94.050, subsection 4, staff shall bring forward the special event application to the City Council for approval when the event requires a street or a highway closure. Staff is in support of the highway and road closures as presented and is continuing to work on the final details of the event with the applicant, ensuring that the highway and street closures are to safety and traffic control standards outlined in all city, state, and federal codes. Therefore, staff recommends the approval of the road closures as presented.
Councilmember Trenary.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to approve the road closures for the class of 2026 South Kitsap graduation car cruise event scheduled for Friday, June 5, 2026, as presented.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Trenary, a second by Councilmember Fenton. Questions of Ms. Wallace about the road closure? All right. All in favor of the road closure for the special event, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the road closure has been approved. We are to council committee reports. Let me find, my goodness. I miss Janine right now. She normally prints that page for me, Brandy. But I'll look it up here online.
She can put it on the screen for you.
Yeah, I can read that. Let's see. Let me get to it.
It's all right.
There we go. Thank you, sir.
You're gonna hate me right now.
All right, we've got economic development tourism
Has not met.
has not met, and utilities
Has not met.
has not met. Looks like your next meeting's May 12th on both of those. Finance met last week. Had a report
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. No, it was last week.
It was last week.
It was last week. Yeah.
Like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Most of it was on the agenda tonight.
And most of it was on the agenda that we talked about tonight, but we also reviewed the sales tax and REIT reports. Still not good news there. They're down over the previous year. However, the good news of those both are that we're over 4% above budget on REIT and 5% over budget for this year on sales tax. So great budget work by Nick, by the team there in the finance department. We did discussed the downtown revitalization program we saw tonight, the low income threshold changes we saw tonight, and the lead credit we saw tonight. Our next meeting is scheduled for May 19th.
All right. And transportation met this evening.
We did. We got an update on the Mile Hill High School. They call it the Wolf Roundabout, they're calling it. Update on that. Some good conversations over bicycle lanes and whatnot, how to make that work. Real possibility this could be groundbreaking next summer, not this summer, next summer. Bethel Phase 1. There's some time frames. We got offers are moving really well, sorry, on right-of-way acquisitions. So they're doing basically half of the people they've spoken to are commercial, or half are residential, and no one's been upset yet, including the property right there on Samberry, right there. So they're really good communication with them as well. Yep.
Oh, you mean all the businesses?
The businesses in that little shopping center there. Yep. Well, not the businesses, the property owner.
Oh,
that's who matters.
Who owns the business?
No, but who owns the building?
That's what I meant. Okay.
Yeah, because there's like 4 businesses there. That's really good feedback.
Yeah.
At that part. So that's a huge deal when you're trying to acquire right away. So good job on that, Dennis. Ruby Creek area. We talked about connecting the sidewalks to go all the way through. So the city will probably put a little bit of sidewalk in there to connect the transit center to the apartment complex, because there's a strip right there. So we're going to connect those. So that's a safe walk. And pretty good news is there's interlocal agreement with Kitsap County for paving. So the county is going to, this summer in July, they're going to pave for us if we sign the agreement. Which is actually a really good deal for us because they get the materials a lot cheaper than contractors do and whatnot. So that'll be good. The county has some employees that could use some work right now with the budget shortfall. They didn't pay last summer and they're not paving this summer. So they have some employees that could use some work. So that's really good.
Fire sale.
Yep. Please.
In place. That's just ongoing.
Oh, we do have it in place.
We have it in place.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. We just haven't signed it yet.
It's not, it's been executed. It's multi-year ongoing.
No. I guess it's already completed then. There we go. That's all I have.
I got
It was a great meeting.
question for you.
Please.
When you said an update on that roundabout with the SK on it, so
The state roundabout.
yes. So you're saying a bike path along that way
So bike lanes.
or bike lanes?
Yeah,
Huh?
it's gonna be tough to put bike lanes in there because it's a state
Yeah.
roundabout. So,
But you-
did we add on that part? Because give me add on that, the bike lanes and the roundabout.
It's
a
gonna
big
be,
portion of-
it's gonna be minimal infrastructure for bike lanes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty steep slope there along the mall.
yeah, and,
Right there, too.
yeah, and
Awful
nothing,
Clarity.
nothing going up the hill is what we learned, but certainly Mile Hill will have some minimal infrastructure. And they can always use the off ramp on the roundabouts.
And just for clarity,
Yes.
we're talking about the new to be constructed roundabout up on top of the hill. Where
Okay,
high school comes out at the
Wolf Road.
intersection, Wolf Road,
gotcha.
not this one.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's good. Got the.
Right. Got it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Land use?
Land use committee meeting was, I don't mean to say pretty sedate, but it was. We just had general discussions on the Windows display. We're continuing that discussion. We also had some more discussion on parking, which comes up every now and then, but there was no major change. We got a brief on permittable AI, where we are on that. We talked about, and I know that council saw the permit inspection report. We continue to be very active in that area at DCD, and McCormick North Development Agreement is coming up. We had a discussion on that. So it wasn't anything earth shattering, unless anybody would like to add anything else, and we'll have our next meeting next month.
The lodging tax, I'm certain hasn't met, and sewer advisory, anything to report there?
And not till June.
Okay, outside agencies,
I have a report on the ad hoc.
okay, in the ad hoc committee.
Ad hoc, we met in May, had continued discussion on our council norms. We're looking at having a draft in June. We're meeting again in May. We'll forward that to Charlie in that time. So I'd like to take a look at possibly either getting on the July work study or the September work study at the latest to roll it out to council.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Report of the mayor. I've got three things. One, today I was driving around and I saw our new roadside mower out there, and it's pretty cool seeing them out there. Last year, we weren't able to perform that activity other than with weed eaters, and that's not very efficient. Because our motor had, prior mower had broken and wasn't repairable, and we weren't able to get it till this winter. So we didn't have a need to mow the ditches in the middle of winter. So it's cool to see that out there. And Brandy, could you bring up those pictures of the Myries building real quick? I don't know if anybody's driven through downtown the last couple of days, but yesterday, Public Works put up the majority of the black and white photos inside the windows, and they look really good. I've gotten a lot of really good feedback. A couple of them are needing to be reprinted. So there's two more that go in the two blank spots that you're seeing down there. But it really looks cool. So there's a picture there. That the one there on the left side of the picture is 10 feet across. And the majority of them are about 5 foot by 5 foot. And so they're really nice sized pictures of our history. Many of them are downtown. Go ahead, council member.
Mr. Mayor, are we going to put any kind of that history?
It's their small cap.
Are there? Okay, I didn't.
On the bottom of the edge of the picture,
okay.
It tells
it does
what we knew. Some of them are, It's Bay Street.
So I saw him putting them up yesterday and then I drove by them this morning. I have not gotten out to see, but I just wanted to make sure. And from what I saw, I didn't see
there's another-
captions or anything underneath of it. So
See, there's those two black spots that there'll be pictures going in there. Like that one on the Sydney side on the left side. That's a picture of the original courthouse on the right in that window it's setting, and then the new courthouse in 1932. And we're still in the new courthouse. So Councilmember Deere?
How are those going to be protected?
The banner material.
Okay.
If they get vandalized, we'll just replace them.
Okay, that's what I
they're
wondered.
a few $100s a piece. So it wasn't insignificant. That came out of the beautification dollars. It was under $5,000 to do all of them.
I'm just curious, would it be cheaper to put plexiglass or something like that over it? Or I guess that becomes a maintenance issue.
Yeah,
And the
that would get
Okay.
vandalized too.
Well, but cheaper to
it's
replace.
vinyl. It's really heavy duty vinyl material and grommets and then screwed into the hardy board. Counselor?
Same question.
Okay. All right. But anyway, yes.
I would buy it. It looks great.
Thank you.
Awesome.
The crews were really excited doing it. All right. The next picture, you can't bring it up yet, Brandy. I got a foreshadow here. Look. I am just the messenger. You might like this. You might hate it. So we got a mural going on that Adam Smith is doing. And so I had Lizzie down at the Pam Salmonberg's bookstore. She goes, my husband's an artist and he would like to paint a sweater on the Marina Pump Station. And I said, I've got to see a rendering of what a sweater would look like on the Marina Pump Station. And so she's provided me a rendering. I don't have a cost yet. I know that it would take, he said he's got a daytime job. It'd take him about 3 months to do this. It's huge. So enough said. Randy, could you put that picture up on the screen? Like a bad Christmas sweater, I think. But, yes, interesting. So Sam's feedback was, she basically insinuated I was old. She said people under 40 would like it, and that if we could incorporate Port Orchard and established in 1890 around one of the anchors, maybe it becomes a place to do selfies.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating one way or the other. I'm just sharing the information and looking for some feedback, and maybe we look for a different. And Sam suggested a different color when I mentioned that to the artist. The artist kind of wants to paint it the way he presented it. So
I'll be the first to step off this ledge. I like the notion of painting, but I think it needs to be something that's a little more timeless, maybe more classic. I'm not keen on this, but that's just my opinion.
Over 40.
Yeah.
You're over.
Yeah.
I'm just barely over 40 and yeah, I might be with a little bit with Scott. I love the idea. I love that it's nautical, that we're looking at anchors right here. I think we can do a lot more with that. Actually, Councilmember Warden and I had the opportunity to visit and see these 15,000-pound anchors on Friday. So we haven't been able to do anything with it other than see it and start getting some ideas of what that might look like. But I love the anchors. I don't know that I'm in love with the sweater part of it. I don't even hate, I'm okay with the colors. I think it's just, I'm with Scott. I think something a little more timeless, or even something that just is a little more matching our current aesthetic. And I don't know how to say that other than, and I don't want it to be so matchy that we're doing the exact same thing as the community event center either, because you want to have that little juxtaposition. So I don't know the right answer, but I think we're on the right track. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, Jay.
I'll just weigh in since I am the oldest guy here. No, I'm not. It doesn't wow me. I don't think it's timeless. And I would say that a good way to go, I think we actually talked about doing something at one point in time, would be to solicitate some artist to submit some work so we can get multiple ideas. And right now mine would be down there on this one.
Bernadette?
Oh.
Their hands up.
Oh.
That way.
Yeah, I think this is, I mean, we can do something different. I'd like, yeah, maybe the, our year when we were established or some more history on their Port Orchard. But I mean, I like the anchors, sweater or not. Yeah, I'm over 40, so I kind of like it, but, but anyway, I think we're going in the right direction with this.
So.
Councilor Dunbar.
Okay. Yeah, same. I like things that are funky in the sense of it goes with the theme that we're looking for, which is the anchors. But it's funky enough for people to actually care, like tourism, because ultimately our downtown is supposed to be about tourism. And like, I don't know if y'all have ever been like to Tennessee and you go around and you try to find these things. And so when we were kind of, you know, talking in the work study about having anchors around the city, it would be really cool to have this like radical like sweater, anchor sweater. So I do really like that idea.
Ward?
Yeah, a little background on her husband. He knits.
Oh yeah.
And that's why he likes us.
We have a huge fiber
Yeah.
committee.
So just my opinion. That's not my taste, which is fine. I'm not everyone's flavor either. But I honestly would like to, I'd like to wrap it myself.
Dennis just tossed that idea.
Yeah, versus paint, I'd rather wrap it. Like, you know, you see vehicles and things, but you can get some super nice high end, just like those photos. You know, you can get some really cool stuff out in there. You can incorporate it, design it any way you want. We can still pay an artist to design it, and then we can wrap it, and they come out and they wrap it for you. There's great local companies that do that, and I think that it would last a lot longer, and we can get way more creative. But again, we're still using humans to design it, you know. So that's my 2 cents.
It is a unique texture because it's corrugated, so we have to take that in mind. But I agree that I was just trying to be objective and bring an idea forward. And
I like it.
I you know, the money that we have for beautification is virtually gone. You know, I might have been able to squeeze something for a few thousand, and what we're talking about, you know, we're talking about putting another big chunk of money in. Maybe next year's chunk of money, a large portion of it goes towards doing something decorative on this. Or it might not be the right time either if we've got a gigantic construction zone and all the dirt and everything and dust going onto that. But you have any thoughts you want to share, or you just want to keep
Not
it
sure I want
yourself?
to share. I like the theme. If you look into the depth of that, we've got the anchors, we've got the waves, we've got the fish, we've got the sun, we've got steering columns on a ship. I'm not sure what is that a chain on the top? I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, and I think there's even some seagulls there.
So I really like the theme. I'm just slightly over 40, and it just doesn't feel to me that way. But I like the direction we're going, and I do like the wrap idea as well. The only thing I would be concerned with as far as wrappage goes is to make sure we're using a material that doesn't lift and peel. But that's for another story for another day.
All right. Well, we've spent enough time on this evening.
Well, I just want to point out in the future, if you could bring that back up, or maybe not, the detail that is shown in that was going to be a lot
of
of
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was going to take you
look at the
months to do
detail there. That's a lot of painting,
It
and
was
that's going to be a huge cost.
Yeah. It was going to be a very 3-month endeavor, he said. So, all right. We've heard enough from the mayor.
Like changing into the
director's report, Mr. Ryan.
There was never a discussion.
Nick Bond's light. So Nick Bond's wife is a designer, and he floated this by her, and her response was she didn't hate it.
I don't either.
I'm sorry, Adam.
Sons to my brother. He's a graphics artist.
So I was going to talk about the Marina Pump Station. So this isn't the picture that was shown a few weeks ago when I attended the APWA Spring Conference. The city was recognized for the Marina Pump Station project as the environmental project of the year for the category of environmental for 5 to 25 million. And all the agencies in the entire state of Washington, 11 agencies got project of the year. Port Orchard was one of them. Bremerton was recognized for Quincy Square for a project under 5 million. And of the 11, 3 of them went to the Seattle waterfront. So quite the accomplishment for the entire city. And also we have a very talented engineering team and our operation team that support the project, inspectors. It's a big compliment to the city. So I wanted to pass it on. And then also to update everybody, we talked about the SR16 fish culvert that's going to affect our water line. That thing is moving along quick. So we are targeting May 11th for that work to start. So you will start seeing construction activities in the next couple of weeks out there. Thank you.
Got a phone over there. Crocker, what do you got?
I'm just going to stick with the theme of good news. So we finished our audit with the state auditor's office, and we got a clean audit, which means that we did not have an audit finding, we did not have a management alert, nor did we have an exit item when we finished the audit. So I just want to read a couple statements out of the audit report, which is now available on the public site, because I think this is something you can always communicate with the citizens of how well we're managing the funds, and that we get audited every year. So they selected certain areas of risk. They selected cash receiving for timeliness and deposits. They selected payroll for gross wages. I mean, are we paying our employees correctly, the correct amounts? They selected the police department and the property evidence room in this disposition of property and citation and reconciliations. They always select public meetings, and they come back and actually review all the minutes for compliance. And then they look at the overall financial condition of the city and how well does it perform. And so in their examination in all those areas, they found that we complied with all material respects, as well as applicable state laws, regulations, and our own policies, and provided adequate controls over safeguarding of public funds and resources. So I wanted to let you know, another great year, another great audit.
Good job.
Thanks.
Nicely done. Okay. Mr.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report.
Well, in less great news, there was a recent court decision I just wanted to flag for you. The city of Burien is unfortunately the recipient of an OPMA lawsuit from Mr. Arthur West, and he was victorious. The interesting takeaway from this case is that it involved a press conference the city held relating to legislation that had already passed. They were merely sharing information with the public and the press. And the court said that does constitute an open meeting insofar as all the council are present and they're receiving public testimony or comment through the media. So the court reiterated the concept that passive receipt of information via email, that is still okay. That's not an OPMA violation. So when you receive information from staff or even each other as one single passive receipt of information, that is not an OPMA violation, as long as there's no back and forth. However, in any setting where there is a majority of council present and you are receiving public live testimony, it doesn't have to be testimony with a capital T, it has to be feedback from the public. This case now indicates that that is not passive receipt of information. That is something that must be noticed as a meeting. I would note there was recent legislation that deals with press releases in the context of an emergency in response to the December flood events. So those are automatically carved out from this decision. This decision predates that, or the law this court was looking at predates that exemption, but that wouldn't have applied here. This wasn't an emergency press release or press conference.
I'm just curious, what was the award?
It's usually just Arthur West is looking for his fees. And he gets his attorney's fees on appeal, and then they've remanded for further proceedings. So determination of penalties will occur at the trial level.
Chief, something positive, please.
I know there's been some concerns about us being able to manage downtown, so I just wanted to share with you guys that we did start over this weekend doing emphasis patrols on Fridays and Saturday nights. We did have a number of contacts. It is Nerf War season for South Kitsap High School. That is not sanctioned by the city or the high school, but that does bring gathering of kids in the sunshine downtown to shoot at each other with guns, which caused some consternation amongst the community. So we did some education, and then we'll be doing some enforcement in the following weeks.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Ms. Wallace?
Yes, just a reminder, if you want to sign up for a coffee with the council for June and after, I don't have anybody signed up. I do have Councilmember Morrissey, Trenary, and Ward before May 2nd, but nothing else. So just reach out to the clerk's office.
Please put me down for June.
And then that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Okay. We're to our second citizen comment, and don't rush off. We're going to have a brief executive session at the conclusion of the meeting too. You can do that. We'll let you do that. We're to our second citizen comment period. Is there anyone online? Because we have no one in the council chambers. Raise your hand and we'll bring you into the meeting. And I see no hands raised, so I'm going to close the second citizen comment period. Anything for the good of the order? Councilmember, go ahead.
Yeah, good of the order. Ladies' night out this coming Friday from 4 to 8. It's Denim and Diamonds. So hope to see the ladies downtown.
Councilmember Warden.
Yeah, Saturday I attended the South Kitsap Public Education Foundation fundraiser. And I want to thank Jay and his wife for the countless hours and time that they put into that event as one of many, but definitely he and Susan put a ton of time into that. And it was a fantastic event. And then John, do you want to?
Well, I think.
Yeah, if I could just take a moment, I failed to bring it in, but so it's in my car. But our mayor was honored as one of their 4 honorees on Saturday night, and it was the Distinguished Alumni Award. So not only is he a leader within our city, but he's a graduate of that high school, and so they recognized him for that. I wish I had all the great words that they had, but I didn't grab that for you. But I definitely have your really cool award, which is a wolf in and of itself. So
that was quite the honor, and I wish I could have been there. But I had it was my wife's birthday, and we had plans with the family, not here in Port Orchard. So, but thank you for doing that and for me, and it was a tremendous honor.
Thank you, Adrian. You had your hand up.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I saw you with yours. Okay. So I have 2 points for the good of the order.
Okay.
The first one is that with our public hearings, we'd just like to make sure, or would like to ask that that an initial email go out at the same time that we are putting it into the newspaper, which seems to be about a week prior. So having an initial e-blast or put on the website, social media accounts a week at that same time would be great. That way, especially as we talk about folks who might work in Seattle, gives them extra time, especially if they would like to show up in person. And my second point that I'm going to bring up, I would like to do it in email, but it might lead to discussion and we have to worry about open meetings. And with that said is, for me, telling earlier in this meeting, Councilmember Fenton was told that to get something on the agenda, she would need 3 people to agree to it. And from my perspective, that seems like disparate treatment because I see other points of agenda items getting added where I don't think I've seen it go down for a vote where 3 other people need to agree to it. So I would like to be cognizant of that. And I also wanted to mention it now in case, there is additional discussion around this. And because I have not seen that language, I haven't seen it in the AWC Mayor Council Handbook requiring that. In fact, the handbook says, reiterates that the council sets the meetings. This is a council meeting. But that seems to me that that's a way of creating a barrier to that happening. Because again, I've seen a barrier to her being able to bring agenda items. Number 2, I have not seen it in Robert's rules. And again, somebody else might know Robert's rules better than me, but I've been trying to read up on it. I have not seen Robert's rules come up with that or that set that point, nor have I seen it in our code.
Bernardino.
So I have two things now. I had one before, but I have two now. I think the concern is that where you have a council member who has sole support for an issue. And we've seen that in the past, I think with fluoride treatment, where you wanted to bring that back to the table, but previous discussion showed that nobody had supported it. So at that point, you're bringing something back for discussion that we've already talked about. And some might perceive that as a waste of our time, right? I just would want us to be careful about having a council member with a pet project and bringing that forward when nobody else sees value in that. So for example, if I wanted to restrict alcohol sales on Sunday, that might be something I want to lean into, but nobody else will have support for that. So is there value in bringing that to work study and only to have a fruitless discussion? That's my first thing. My second thing is I wanted to thank Brandy for an iterative agenda as we move through the night. When we are modifying the agenda, she's modifying it in real time on our screens, which I think is pretty cool. And I think the public will like that as well.
Oh, that's right.
You have a
Sure. Thank you. To address some of the Robert's rules does say that the chair sets the agenda. Our chair happens to sit in the mayor's seat, so he gets to say that. Anyone who wishes to amend that, it takes 4 votes.
Well, we haven't done fluoride in a long time, so that's passed, but that will be forward. But I did call the mayor and we went back and forth, and I even had a conversation with our lawyer too, back and forth saying, and I'll come up with it. I wanted to bring something up for a work study. And he goes, you have to get 3 votes with that. And I go, where's that written down? Well, it's not written down. And I even asked the lawyer about that. It's not written down about getting 3 votes. And so that Councilmember Dedman does make a point about that because it's not written down.
Councilmember Rose.
Yes, thank you for, I was waiting my turn to be recognized, and I hope other council members will wait their turn to be recognized. Couple of things. Thank you, Eric, for those kind words. I would like to also acknowledge that Eric played a large part in that the other night too. So thank you. Just a quick update. Duncan, which is our dog, did get licensed. I do appreciate bringing that to my attention. It was an oversight, and I apologize. It was very painless. I encourage everybody to do it because it's a good way of getting your dog tracked in case it gets lost. And I did hold up my end of the bargain that I talked to the council and did make a donation of $50 to the Kitsap Humane Society. So they acknowledged it and said thanks.
If I could interject here, Brandy and I have a discussion. We're not certain. The Humane Society is our enforcement agent.
Yeah.
And you can license your pet there. You can license your pet here. And we don't really see an upside to licensing a pet. So we could be bringing something before you guys to.
It's amazing. That's my next subject to bring right up.
Oh,
in here.
I'm sorry I interrupted.
Yeah, it's okay. No, I did want to point out that the mayor is facilitator of our council meetings. They are our meetings, but he is a facilitator. And as such, the administration of our discussions. He has said before that he if somebody wants to bring something up, he takes up kind of a poll about whether that's something that people are interested in. If he's not seeing 4 people nodding thumbs up or thumbs down, then it doesn't move anywhere. It doesn't preclude anybody from bringing an item up at good of the order or any other time. We do have, and this is in AWC, as our primary duties, our financial oversight / budget oversight, where we control basically how the city operates by funding those items and also creating policy. So if we wish to amend the policy, doing away with dog licenses, then we can do so, and we can bring those items up. So we control our destiny, folks, not the mayor. And one of the things that you will see with some of the, I hope I'm not overstepping my bounds here, Charlie, but I can say that there's been some healthy discussion in the changes to the council norms or rules, however you want to look at it, that would give us a more defining more of our pathway toward things like the agenda and other items that we've heard from the council. So stay tuned and in a very positive way. But to say that the mayor controls our council meetings is incorrect, and we control our council meeting. He's the facilitator and he does a bang up job, and we should stop giving him crap about it. Thank you.
Councilmember Gedman, go ahead.
Okay, thank you for that. I did get a little bit confused when Councilmember Morrissey pointed out and said that as the chair, the mayor sets the agenda, thereby controlling the priority set of our meetings.
Anything else for the good of the order? Councilmember Trenary, go ahead.
Yeah, why not? So I've noticed the Pottery Sydney Road dividers in there got cleaned up. Got nice new material down there. They look really sharp. Thank you to the Public Works Department for that. Chief, I appreciate your time. Our discussion earlier this week, and I look forward to my ride along coming up mid-May at some point. And Brandy, I echo the sentiments over there. Civic Plus updating on the fly is awesome. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
All right. From that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting after the executive session. Charlie, we're going to have an executive session related to potential litigation. So give us that statute.
Yeah, RCW 4231 10 subpart 1 subpart I for 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. So we will return for the purpose of adjournment only at 8:50.
Hey, Brandy. I don't